I wanted to show how I was able to install a PHP environment with a MySQL environment um, with an Apache server on a Windows machine in case you wanted to do some PHP development with our project on a Windows machine. So the first thing that I did was I installed this thing called XAMPP, XAMPP, maybe it's pronounced. What that gives you is PHP, Apache, MySQL, and Perl if you want it, on your machine, on your Windows machine, so that you can do some local development and not be screwing up the development software. Once you run it, you get this panel configuration. And all I did was I hit I started. There was a start and stop button here for Apache and MySQL. I figured that's all I would need. Under the administration, if you go to MySQL administration, it gives you a PHP MyAdmin window so you can monkey with the databases. And I'm going to talk about how I deal with the databases after I get them going. But I just wanted to say that getting Apache running and MySQL running was very cool. Where did I save that? Well, I saved that um, under the root document. So it's C colon and then it's XAMPP. Now, anything that's under htdocs, so let me show you what that looks like. Anything under htdocs is going to be then viewable and runnable in your browsers because it knows that if it's found if it finds it in there and it's a PHP document, it'll actually run the PHP engine. So let me show you what I mean by that. If I have here I have a test. Um, that I called AndyPHP test.php, and all it does is hello world. So the code for that, let me show you that simple code. I think it's still open here, right? Was echo hello world. Where did I save it? Notice where I saved it. I saved it under htdocs, and then I made a folder called AndyPHP. But then again, look at the URL here. It was localhost, and that's very, very important. You have to do localhost, and then it doesn't say htdocs, it doesn't say XAMPP, it just says AndyPHP. So basically, after you type localhost, it is actually looking in the htdocs folder. So anything in htdocs folder, the browser will consider to be in localhost, and I'm sure that's in some configuration file somewhere. And so anything you put in there will work as PHP. But if I were to, I'm trying to think of an example. If I go to some other things that I tried, localhost, that I had put them outside of the folder. So I'll show you places that didn't work. If you go up, yeah. So here is uh, the XMAP. I tried this one, this my PHP folder in the same folder as the XAMPP folder. That didn't work. Also, if I put it at the top level, I tried this one, my PHP. That one didn't work. You see, I have this test PHP in there. That didn't work. The only place where I could get it to work, and I know that people are probably laughing at me for this, was to go into the XAMPP and then into the htdocs, and then I could create things all I wanted to. The second piece I want to talk about is how I installed Laravel. I went to Laravel and I got this zip folder, downloaded it, and it put all of this crud in here, all of this junk. And then to see where things are at, you actually have to go to the public folder. So I went to, um, unfortunately, I kind of did the stupid naming system. There's a Laravel folder, then there's a Laravel folder, and if you've been following along, you'll realize that this is in the htdocs folder. Let's prove that. So if I go into, yep, it's in the htdocs folder. So Laravel 56C 6202, which is the stupid thing. Then you have to go to public because Laravel wants all of the websites where people might ever use them to be under public. And I made something called Andy. But how did I do that? Well, Laravel does this really slick thing where um, you look in the views folder. So it's Laravel application views, and then there's one called home. So, oh, you know what? I didn't want this one. Give me a second. I want this one. Yes, under application, there's a file called routes.php, and in routes.php, I said, hey, let's give a route to Andy. And if anyone ever tries to get to Andy, echo, does this work too? So I went to public and I tried to go to Andy. And it says, does this work too? Well, what if I tried to go to Gobbledygook? It says, I think we're lost. And Laravel is doing all of this. The other one that I think I did was test. Yep, and there I have the hi there. And you can actually see that here. I made a test one and it echoes hi there. So this is at least getting it somewhat working on my machine.